getting started. Thank you everybody for joining us for the Level Up Zoom training today. Today we want to welcome Miss Jennifer Lachapelle. I haven't had the opportunity to meet her in person, but I have been on quite a number of live dial sessions with her, and I have listened to her absolutely slay the phone. And she is working very hard on her mindset and her activity so that she can protect a lot of families every week. And she's got a lot to share, and I think it'll help a lot of us. I let her know that a lot of us are veteran agents that are not where we want to be yet. And also we have a lot of new agents. So I think her message is going to help us all. So Jennifer, if you want to get started with just a little bit about yourself and how you found Family First Life, how you got started.
Okay, so my name is Jennifer Lachapelle Woodall. So my license has changed, but I started out with FFL because I was at a captive agency and I was there too long. I wish I would have known about FFL sooner. I would have jumped ship a lot sooner. I came from a captive agency, bred and born in my bones that it was like, there's nothing greater. You're never going to find anything better. And then a girl that had got me the job at the said captive agency, she had left. I didn't know where she went. She's like, you need to come to this, back to, I guess, business development meeting, which is what they're doing, all the meetings that they're doing now. And I was like, I don't know. I'm really I've been here so long that I kind of need to stay. And I'm so glad that I finally went to a business development meeting or business overview meeting, because I'll never look back. Let's just put it that way. I'll never look back. So I started with FFL in June of 2020, but really didn't go full time. I was transitioning from one to the other, and I told them I quit, and they wouldn't accept that I quit. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not coming into the office no more. I quit. I'm working with Family First Life. And I was full time pretty much right about a month or so after I started. I just dug all in, but I really wasn't plugged in. So, I was just kind of a little bit here. I was making more than what I was used to because the comp was higher. So I was able to make more. And I guess I'm kind of like just comfortable with making enough just to get by. So I've been with FFL right at about 2 years now.
So about 2 years.
Yes.
So how was your transition from captive to this? What was different, and what did you struggle with?
Oh man, I struggled with quite a few things. I struggled with the fact that I had to buy leads. I wasn't used to that. We didn't have to buy leads, but we had basically recycled leads. So I would call and I'd be like, hey, this is Jennifer with, and I'm just calling to do a policy review. Want to see if I could come out, And so it was like the leads, once I got past the leads that I had to buy the leads and they actually worked, I was okay with that. But it was a struggle at first because I was like, over here I had free leads and over here I have to buy my leads. But over here they're recycled and they've already got everything they need with this captive company. You're just calling, pushing. And sometimes I was like, well, someone just came out 2 weeks ago. So I would get a lot of that with captive. So I was like, okay, recycled leads, free, over and over and over, given out to many people, or spend a little money to see, I can help some people that maybe I can put them in a better position. That was one thing that was different. The comp, that was for the better. Past agency, my comp level was 50. And then when I became in the management position, it was 60. And that's all it ever was going to be, was 60. So when I started out here, when I first started out at FFL, the comp level was 80%. So I got started at 80, but it didn't take long for Gary Begees to see, he went ahead and bumped me up pretty quickly. They changed the comp to 90, and he said, no, I'm just going to bypass. I'm going to move you up a little bit more because you have experience. So that was a huge difference, the comp level. Another difference was when you're pushed in your head over and over for a couple of years that things have to be done this way, it's almost like repetitive, it's kind of hard to break the cycle. So my biggest thing that I had to overcome was it was okay to ask for help here. I wasn't going to get in trouble. If I was out in the field at said company and I needed help, I needed to figure something out, and I would call and he wouldn't answer, which is, the person, my upline, he wouldn't answer. I'm like, okay, well, I'm in the home. I've called you twice now. No answer. Texted you, hey, I'm in home. I really need your help. And then you're standing there looking stupid in front of a client because, okay. So I started calling other people. When I did that, I got reprimanded for it. So I would come back into the office and he's like, hey, did you get your, he's like, hey, I got your text. Should you done this way? And I said, well, I already got my answer. I took care of it while I was in home. Who'd you call? And I would tell him, he's like, no, we don't do that. You call me and only me. And he would cuss me out and embarrass me in front of everybody. We'd have meetings every Tuesday or Monday in the office. So that's embarrassing when you're in front of the thing and he just calls you out because you decided to get help. When is that wrong to get help? Right. I thought you wanted me to do right so I don't screw something up. So that was a huge thing. Because I was so afraid to ask questions. And then finally one day I'd been struggling. I was like, I'm not doing good over here. I think this is not for me. Maybe I need to go back over there. And my husband's like, no, you kind of put your foot out here. So you got to try it. And he was running with me in the field and he's like, why don't you just call and ask for help? And I was like, oh, but I was so nervous and I couldn't get a hold of my upline at the time. So I called Gary Pagese, and he said, what's the problem? I said, oh, I've been having a problem all day, last week, last month. He goes, okay, what's happening? And I told him, and I said, I'm getting a lot of, I want to think about it. It's almost every appointment. I want to think about it. And he said, run me through your in-home. I said, what do you mean? He goes, run me through your in-home like you're sitting with me, like you just pretend you're, So I said, he goes, up right there, stop. And I said, what? He goes, stop. Tweak this, do this, don't do that. And now one little thing changed. And I was like, oh, I need to start. So first off, if you're new or you're not new or wherever you are at in the process or wherever you're at with FFL, please don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to ask. No question is a stupid question. I don't care if somebody else already asked it and you weren't on that call. It doesn't matter. Don't be afraid to ask. Gary said he asked all the questions all the time. He wanted to know, he said, what's the difference between a whole life and a term? He didn't know when he first started. It's okay to ask the questions that you need to help you succeed. And FFL is here. And there's so many people that it doesn't matter where you come from, what team you're on. I could call Jake Conan and be like, I'm in the middle of a home. Hey, I need help. And I'm sure he would answer and help me. That's the great thing about this is there's plenty of agents to help you. So don't be afraid. And I think the next biggest thing was our schedule. So we, at the other company, we did Mondays and Thursdays too. So I'm used to that. It was the same thing, except for we didn't start dialing until 4 p.m. We had all these meetings all day long and we didn't start dialing until 4. So we dialed 4 to 9. And it was like, okay, then here we dial, I started between 7 to 7:30. So I start dialing and it's like a huge difference. And I got fresh leads and I'm setting more appointments. And I think average at the other company, I think I might have set 12 appointments a week. And that was the most. I was the person who set the most appointments. And 12, that was like a big deal. Here, man, you set 12 and people are looking at you like, where's the rest of your appointments?
Exactly. So, are you part-time?
Yeah. Are you part-time? Are you running this part-time or full-time? And then I think the next thing probably is just the camaraderie, just the way this truly feels like family. I've seen so many things happen to different agents and people just pour out the love if something, when something happens. There was an agent, I think him and his girl, their apartment caught on fire, and we just all rallied up to help. Sean Mike is so willing to give, and the things that he's a part of, Pastor Matthew, the Dream Center, all these things that we give back. And I never had the opportunity to do that. I mean, my upline son passed away, and everybody, prayed, and FFL came together, and that was just a beautiful thing. And I never had that. I know I've seen at the past company, I worked with a gentleman, and he's still my friend today. And I guess he's just dumbly loyal, if that's how you want to put it, because he just refuses to come over here because he's just stuck, and he's so set and brainwashed, and he's letting being captive ruin who he really is. But he and his wife had lost a baby, stillborn. And he was expected to come back to work like ASAP.
Oh.
And if something happened like that here, people are like, okay, take your time, do what you need. We're here for you. It's different here. It's just like a family. Sean Mike did the best name when he said family first life, because we are out every day putting families first. In the end, we're also protecting our families. It don't get no better than that.
Very, very true. So one thing,
I'm talking really fast because I'm nervous.
Oh, you're fine, and you're doing great. So when we spoke earlier, we talked about some of this, how hard this can be, and the challenges that you've had to overcome. And we mentioned mindset and affirmation. So if you can just share some of what you've experienced, because you had a great week in the field. I think I saw a post. It was over 20 families that you helped, and then you had last week, and it wasn't the same kind of week. And so if you can just kind of explain how that can be, and how you manage it.
So this job is going to be like a roller coaster sometimes, and you're going to have ups and downs, but as long as you maintain and don't feel like you're on a roller coaster, so always stay up, always be up, even when you don't want to. You have to take the emotion out of it, that's for sure. Now, I'm not saying take the emotion out when you're in the home with families. You do need to have a heart that you have to love people to do this job. Like you really have to care about people. But I mean, take the emotion out of it when you're dialing. Take the emotion out of it when you get porched. Take the emotion out of it when you get cussed out on the phone, because it's going to happen. I had probably 2 appointments less the week I did over 20 than I did this past week, and I failed. That's okay. I struggled. It was a major struggle bus. And I'm not going to lie, I quit in my head a couple of times. And my husband's like, no, because he goes with me sometimes. He's like, nah. He said, next one, it's going to be okay. And then the end of the day, I said, see, none of them were okay. He said, nope. He said, my wife doesn't quit, remember? I was like, okay. He said, my wife's coming for everything they said she couldn't have, remember? And I was like, okay. He's like, my wife's getting the red jacket. And then I just was like, okay, positive affirmations. He was giving them to me because I was literally at the moment of like collapsing, like, oh. The week before, I had like almost 70 appointments, 30 plus door knocks. I did over 2 families, my bad. And then this week I had actually more appointments, and I helped like almost 5 families. But I'm here today at the office. I'm not at home. I'm not moping, because I know that in this business, it will come back to me. Because anybody who does 20 families and then turns around and has 5 families and just gives up, what are you're never going to get to the really big stuff. You have to keep going. And it is a struggle. It's very frustrating. And in this business, you can be alone sometimes, it feels like, because you're in the field and you're alone. You're driving from house to house. And it can get real frustrating. I'm grateful that I have my husband, but I always say you should have a road dog. Who's your road buddy? I got several road buddies. One's not even on my team, but she shares an office with me, Miss Madeline. Man, we push each other. We door knocked over the phone. I was running appointments. Someone no showed me. I went and door knocked. I was like, hold on, I'm going to go knock on this door. All right, you got this. And then I'm like, all right, how many door knocks are you going to do? Like, we push each other throughout the week, and we don't see each other until we get at the office. So you got to find a road dog. You got to find somebody that, and I don't mean negative. You got to push each other. You got to stay positive. You got to take the negative out of it. But call on somebody and be like, hey, how's your day going? Oh, don't want to hear the negative. Let's go. You got this. Because you need that.
Exactly.
Because this business, it can be a little bit lonely during the week. But I'm grateful for live dials, whether I'm here at the office and nobody's here, or I'm here at the office and the office is slammed. I'm grateful to be on any kind of live dials. I dial on Big Sky dials for at least an hour. I pick a time slot, and then I get back on Neil FFL Achievers dials, because there's quite a few people on there that I've come real close with, and we're like a family. It's good. I can ask them how their weekend went. Oh, they had a crap too? Okay, cool. That's cool. We're going to brush it off. We're going to start all over. So
that's right. You do it as a
struggle,
team.
but if you don't pick yourself back up after you fall, how are you ever going to succeed? Because without failure, there is no success. You have to fail. You're going to fail.
Exactly.
It's how Jennifer, you come back.
What is your typical appointment goal for every week?
So my typical goal today is Thursday. So that means I'm going to run Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And my goal is to set at least 10 a day. If I can get, my goal is anywhere from 30 to 40 on the weekends. And on Tuesday and Wednesday, I try to get 30. So I like to run anywhere between 60 to 70 appointments a week.
Okay. Now I want to be sure everybody heard that. 60 to 70 appointments a week. Jennifer, you're making 30, me look bad. My goal is 30.
I just figured most people's goal is 30, but I figured if 30 appointments averages you about 30 to 40 families helped a month, then what could 60 to 70 do? I have big goals. And like I said, you know, I've struggled. And in the beginning, I wasn't plugged in, and I was kind of off and on, off and on, off and on. I was riding that roller coaster that we talked about. And I wasn't just in the appointments and in the field. It was, I'd come in and I'd dial, and then I'm like, okay. And then I'd have a really good week. And then a few days later, I have a really good bank account. And then guess what? Oh, well, I can take a couple days, and I don't have to plug in. I don't have to work as hard. So I want to get my red jacket so bad. Like, I have a vision board. I don't know if y'all can see it, but I have a vision board right there. It's right in front of me at all times. And there is a red jacket on that board. There's an integrity deal on that board. And that's what keeps me going. Like, it pushes me. So I know I kind of screwed up at the beginning of the year. So now I just really got to push. I got to push hard. Yeah. And I have, you know, several months left, and I feel like I can do it. Now, if I don't get it, that's fine. I'll keep on going for it. But I'm not going to quit. And yes, 30 appointments is the average for most agents, and there's nothing wrong with you running 30 appointments consistently. I just feel like sometimes if you have some more at bats, you might have a better chance.
Exactly. And I think you said a very important keyword there. You said consistently.
Yes,
I think a lot of people, they create their own roller coaster with the inconsistencies. Like when your bank account looks good and you feel like, okay, I don't have to work as hard.
Right.
Or if, oh gosh, rent is due and there's not enough in my bank account, then you go like a crazy person with commission breath, and neither of those are good.
And I've done that.
Yes.
And I've done that multiple times, but I don't want to do that anymore. So my goal is to be more plugged in, be at the office, be the first one at this office, every dial day. Like, I want to be the first one here. I want to have my leads printed. I want to have my leads organized. I want to have them ready to go. I want to have my dial tracker filled out. I want to have my schedule sheet filled out. I want everything ready. So 7:30 comes, I'm ready. And I was running behind today, and I felt like, oh, great, the whole day is going to be off, but I'm going to remain persistent and consistent, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I don't leave this office until I get what I need, not what I want, what I need. And I need 30 to 40 appointments. So if my last dial is at 9:30, I will dial till 9:30 at night. And that's no joke. There's a lot of times I leave here because everybody can set 30 appointments. So 15 is nothing in a dial day, really. I don't feel like 15 in a dial day is hard to achieve. And I've had my, get my 15 to, 18 somewhere around like noon or a little after. And then it slows down and I'm just pounding the phones, pounding the phones, pounding the phones. I bring my lunch. I don't leave. I just keep pounding the phones. Steady.
Makes sense. It takes a lot of work, and you're putting in long hours, but you're consequently, on average, helping a lot of families every week.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
That funds the continued lead purchases, and it does help your mind stay right. But you're right. We all are going to experience the ups and the downs. It's so critically important how you choose to work your way through the downs. And Jennifer, you've referred to your husband helping. My husband, Freddie, he's the one that when I'm not having a good day, he's the one I call, because I can vent and I can growl and, just be upset with. And
you got to have that.
Yeah, he always talks me through it and helps me get my perspective switched back to positive. The glass is not half empty, it is half full, and I'm going to keep going. He's like, the next one, you've got 3 more, the day's not over. Those families need you. All of that stuff. You need someone that does that for you, whether it's a family member or a running mate, a road buddy type of situation. And again, that can be anybody.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Exactly.
It's my husband when he's in the car with me. Yeah, when he's in the car with me, he's my road dog. When he's not with me on run days, then I have Madeline, I have Devin, I have Miranda Peters. I have somebody to call and be like, okay, how's your day going? Cool. Okay. All right. Well, I've been no-showed a few times today. Got porch, got the door slammed in my face. The lady called me some very choice words, but you know what? I'm just going to keep on going because I know I'm better than that. And then they're like, yeah. And then they tell me, and then we're building each other up.
It makes a big difference.
In this business, whether you're male or female, quit tearing each other down. Stop tearing each other down. When you see someone more successful than you, don't be jealous. Don't be envious. Be proud of them. Be supportive of them. And find out what they're doing to get there so you can get there too. Like, we need to start building each other up. So you got to constantly stay positive, and in this business, it can go from really, really, really bad to really, really, really good. And I say that because I've had the struggles. I don't know all of you on here. And I can't wait to one day meet all of you and see you on stage getting your red jacket and accomplishing whatever goals you have. But my goal was to not be homeless. When I started FFL, I was homeless. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to be completely transparent. We didn't have an office when I first started. I dialed from wherever I could find a dial. I bounced around. Me and my husband bounced around to friend's house, my mom's house. After a while, my mom lives in not really housing, but it's like senior kind of, and they're not allowed to have anybody stay after 14 days. So we'd stay for a little while, then we'd have to go somewhere, stay for a little while. And then finally her apartment lady was like, look, we mean 14, not consecutive days. It's 14 days every 6 months. They can't, so it was hard. It was bouncing around a lot, taking showers, a few showers and a couple of truck stops. Not going to lie, not my proudest moment. But you know what? When I look now and I have my own apartment and it's over $1,000 and I can afford that. And I have a car that I paid cash for last May, the day before my birthday. I bought myself a car. And it was used, but it was $7,800. And I did that because of FFL. So yeah, we struggle. Top producers, we struggle, but I wasn't born with a golden spoon in my mouth. I was born with them. I always joke around, and my mom gets mad at me sometimes. She watched one of those podcasts I did with Mike, and she's like, well, we weren't that poor. And I'm like, no, Mom, there were times, if you think about it, that you and my stepdad didn't eat to make sure me and my brothers ate. So I know what it's like, and I'll never forget where I came from. I'm always helpful. I'm always willing. I've given out free leads. I have a lead addiction. I like to buy leads now. If I feel like somebody needs help, I'll help them. You know, if they reach out, I'm more than willing to help. There was a guy that came here the other day to the office for one of the BOMs, and he lives like up in Huntsville area, and he said he didn't have no leads to start with. So before he left, I came into my CRM and I had 21 leads for that area. That's it. I said, man, they're old, but I'm giving them to you. He said, Jennifer, I'm gonna dial leads like nobody's business. If you want it bad enough and your back is against the wall, you'll do anything. And my back was against the wall, and I realized I'm never going to get out of this slump, and I'm never going to get my own place, and I'm never going to accomplish what I need to accomplish for me and my husband if I don't put my foot down and get out of my own damn way and work, really work. So yeah, I started running and pushing myself to run more appointments because I needed a lot more. To move in, you got to have down payment. And I didn't know if my credit was the greatest. You got to have security deposit, all these things you had to have, first month's rent, last month's rent, power bill, water bill, all the things you had to do that it cost to move in. I needed that. Plus I needed money to fund my business. Plus I needed gas money and all this other stuff. So I was like, okay, what can I do to make sure I get that? Now my husband is disabled. He has a tumor in his spinal cord. So some days he has good days and bad days. There was one point where my husband was paralyzed from the neck down. So every day that my husband gets to ride with me and drive and is a good day. And I don't take any day for granted, but I know that I'm not going to live in my car. I'm not. And I know that if I can do this with just a high school, just a high school background and a little bit of military experience, anybody can do this. Anybody. Not everybody will, but anybody can. So if you're struggling right now, it's okay. It's absolutely okay. Just pick yourself back up, pull your ass up out of whatever hole you're in, and put your freaking head down and just go for it. Because at the end, you're going to be so happy you did. Just don't look up. Just put your head down and don't look up. Go to work for the next 90 days, hardcore. Set your appointments, get your mind right, and don't look up. And in 90 days, then you look and go, wow, look what I accomplished.
Jennifer, you impressed me, and I did not know anything about your backstory. I appreciate you being so transparent and sharing. I know it's not easy. But I hope there's not, I know of at least 2 people on here who are in dire straits, if you will, financially. And if this didn't get you right there, then check your pulse. I'm not sure you're still breathing, because I mean, you said your number of appointments, 50 to 70 appointments a week, and I was blown away. But now hearing your backstory, I understand you are bent, bound, and determined to change you and your spouse's life. And you're just not going to take any excuses. You're not going to let anything get in your way. And each and every one of us can do that if our why is big enough and what we want to do helps. And I don't know if you can see the comments, Jennifer, but they're flying in. You have hit everybody right between the eyes, and we probably all needed it, myself included. Nothing can stop you if you make up your mind.
Nothing.
And if you don't let yourself, when you're in the slump of the down of the roller coaster, that it goes back up, but you have to make yourself go back up. It doesn't happen automatically in this business. No, you have to keep fighting for it.
You do have to find your why. I don't know what your why is. I'm looking at all these people. I don't know what each one of your why is. But if you don't know your why, then why are you here? You need to dig down and you need to find that why. And whatever that why is, it needs to be what you keep in front of you every day. Every day. I got my whys right here on the board. One of it on there is the house. It's been crossed off. It's not my own yet. That's the next goal, is to buy a house, but I do have a place. I have a, car on there. It's crossed off. The red jacket, it's not crossed off yet, but you got to have those things in front of you. Why are you doing this? Why are you here? Why did you leave wherever you were at to come to FFL? Why do you want to make the amount of money that you can make here? There's a reason. Each one of you has a reason, whether it's to come out of generational poverty, whether it's to help your family, to make sure your mama don't have to pay bills, so you don't put your mom in a nursing home, so you can take care of your mom and buy your mom a house, whatever your why is. So maybe you're working and you're married and you don't want to see your spouse work. Your spouse wants to be home more. You want to later on be able to, retire early. Whatever your why is, dig down deep and find it and go for it. Because when you find the why, when you really find your why, just like we're in home, we have to dig down and find their why, right? We take all the time to help these people find their why. Why aren't you finding yours? Exactly. We're out there every day helping these families. Why aren't you helping yours? Why aren't you pushing yourself? Here you are going out helping, Mary, Joe, and Susan, and Bob, and Tom. But when it comes to you, you're not strong enough to figure out where your why is, or not strong enough to put your head down. You're too in your head. You got to get your mind right. And every morning, I ask the man upstairs.
Yep.
I have my leads. I pray over my leads. I ask God to be able to show me and guide me to who I can help. Let me help who I can help. I pray over once I set my appointments, and you just got to find what drives you, and you need to get out of your head. Cause I know I was on a huge roller coaster. I hate getting up early. I hate running 2 hours. I hate, you know what? I quit a lot of times. Just over this past weekend, I quit multiple times in my head, but I was like, okay, gonna let one bad little week get me? No, I'm not gonna quit. I refuse to quit. I have a reason. I have things I need to get and things I need to do, and I'm not gonna let nobody stop me. And another thing is my schedule is jam-packed every time I set an appointment. And I thought I had a sheet out to show you, but I don't know what I did with it. I can't, a lot of people set their appointments and use their own little things, whether it's one of those like calendar books, and I think a lot of you guys use those. So I don't, because at said company, I kind of had something simpler. So I'm so used to writing my appointments down. So I make myself a schedule sheet, and it starts at 7 a.m, goes all the way up down to 9 p.m. That's 15 time slots. That's 15 appointments. Do I get to all 15 in a day? No. Do I try? Yes. Sometimes I can get to my 7 and be porched and then no showed. And then by the time I get to my 9, I'm a little early. And then when I get done, I'm a little late to my 10, but that's okay. Because when I make the appointment, I sure did tell them, give me a little grace on either side, because sometimes I'm a little early and sometimes I'm a little late. But I always keep my appointments. I hope you do too. So I've got my appointments. And then when I get ready to run this, before I leave tonight, I will sit on my floor, and I got 3 sheets for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But then I have 3 more of these sheets, and these are my door knock sheets. So I'll have a Friday schedule appointment and a Friday door knock. So for every appointment that I have on the books, I got 3 or 4 door knocks in that time slot, each hour. So if my 7 o'clock no shows me, or my 7 o'clock slams the door in my face, I got 3 to 4 more people to go see that are right there in that area, about 3 to 5 minutes, whatever, all apart from each other. Bam, 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 knock them out. Takes a few minutes. Now I'm not sitting around lollygagging in some gas station parking lot or playing on my phone. I'm trying to get as many doors as I can, right? Knock on as many doors as you can a day. I double book sometimes. I know one time I had 18 appointments in a day, and I got to 13 of them. But somebody,
wow, that's impressive.
Somebody no-showed me, and I went to the next one because I had 2 for that hour. I went to my first one that I thought was my varsity appointment, and they no-showed me and went to the one that I double booked, and he was there. And always do door knocks. You should not have a single white space. I'm not telling y'all you have to run 10 a day or 15 a day, but whatever you're running, let's say you don't start at 7, say you start at like 9, and you're going from like 9 to 7 or 9 to 5, whatever your slot is, and you've got like a gap, there should be no gap, should be no white space. Put a scheduled door knock in there on top of a couple more door knocks. Door knocks are amazing. I don't think we use them enough. Everybody thinks, oh, well, I buy all these leads and I'll get my appointments, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. So you got to door knock. And I say that it's important because you never know what you'll find in a door knock. I door knocked in Mississippi and helped 13 families in one house off a door knock.
Wow.
Just sitting there. And you know what she said? Nobody ever called us. Nobody ever showed up. And I said, well, is this your number? She goes, no, it's off by 2 digits. I said, oh. I said, did you mean to? She goes, yeah, I was just going to see actually who actually cared to come out to the house and actually check on us.
Wow.
They didn't want to
do
it.
Everybody heard that too.
They wanted someone to come out to their house. And I did 13 families in one house off a door knock. So, I mean, door knock's important. Everything's important. But the most thing is to make sure that you have a why. Whatever your why is, use that every day. Remember why. I don't care.
And having it in front of you is so important, like your vision board. Before we wrap this up, I do want to just open it up. If anybody has a quick question, I don't want to take too much of our dial time, but this has been good stuff. And I can tell from the comments that everybody's getting a lot out of it. But does anybody want to ask a question before we end this?
Me.
I knew it, Rose. I knew it.
I want to be first. Look, I have a 4-part question. And first of all, thank you so much for sharing your story. Sometimes we don't know the person that's sitting in front of us. And I'm a very numbers person, but knowing the story and the why the person is here, Family First Life, and having success is always so important for new agents to know that we're all going through the same struggles, right? We're not better than anybody. But I wanted to ask you a question. You said something really important. You were having trouble going through the in-home and either avoiding or overcoming the objection. I want to think about it, right? So you said that you went to your upline or someone, that already had experience, and that person told you to modify something in the in-home, but you didn't really say what that was. And there's a lot of that objection. So I wanted to see what it was.
So I was, when you get to the point where you've already kind of called your product specialist or whatever, where you're going. Okay, I'm going to go with Americo and I'm going to go with this amount. And you've got your like 10, 15, 20, or they're in a low budget. You got your 5, 10, you got your plans, right? And you got them all out in front of you and you've got them on the paper. And I use a client worksheet, and then I have another sheet that has like, what it is. So it's not just on a random sheet of paper. And I was writing all the stuff down, and then I was turning it around and I was flipping it to him. And then I was like, okay, Rose, so, this, which one works best for you? And then I would just sit there and go, and I'm staring at them and they're looking at me like, and I'm looking and they're going, I'm like, yeah, so Rose, which one works best for you? And I'm like, I knew that they needed to think about it. Everybody needs to think about it for a second. But my problem was I was just literally sliding it over to them and just staring at them. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was doing that, but I realize now that if someone came to my house and I had never knew about life insurance and they're like here and they're just staring at me going, now I feel like I'm like, you're pressuring me. And then I was like, do we have to think about this right now, Jennifer? So Gary told me to, now look, Rose, I know you're going to need to think about this for a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you and, so-and-so think about this for just a sec while I go ahead and finish. And now I'm opening up the application. I'm going ahead and getting their socials. I'm going to need a little bit more personal information just to see if the company is going to, even approve you or not. Because, ultimately I did the best at my underwriting capabilities, but it's up to the company whether or not they really approve you. So we're going to go ahead and get this application today. I want you to go ahead and pick which one that best works for you. You and Rose, pick this, pick one out. And I tell them, I'm giving you time to think about it. I'm saying the words. Here you go. You think about that for a second. Well, now they're looking at it and I'm not staring right at them and I'm not making them feel awkward. And it was that one little tweak, like huge difference. Like that was it. And after that phone call with him, I had 7 more appointments that day. And I sat down with 5 out of the 7. And I sold all 5, and all 5 were his and hers. And I was like, okay, Next run day, everybody I sat with, I didn't close everybody, but my closing ratio was, I had a lot less. I want to think about it. So
Exactly.
like, you got to head the objection off from the get-go.
From the
So
structure.
if you're telling them in the beginning, hey, so I'm going to get a little personal with you. Is that okay? I'm going to treat you like family. Is that okay? I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm really blunt. Okay, perfect. So Ms. Rose, I'm going to ask you some personal questions. I'm going to ask you financial questions. And the reason why is because I want to make sure I can find something that best fits for you and your needs of your family. I'm also going to ask you some health questions. And I'm also going to ask you, for social and banking and driver's license, because we need to verify, you say who you are. Is that okay? Does that make sense? Perfect. Head it off from the beginning. Why are you asking for it? So when you get to it, you don't have that problem. If you kind of stop the objection get-go, then maybe you don't have as hard of a time having to overcome it in the end.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was great.
I have another question.
Okay, real quick.
Favorite lead vendor, how many leads do you get every week, and how many dials? Lead vendor.
So I don't use any of the lead vendors yet, except for just I locked down 2 counties, and they don't really provide a whole bunch. So on average, I get about 12 to 15 mortgage protection mailers a month. That's not a lot. But I just have recently started doing more mortgage protection. I've locked 2 counties down. The rest is all from the CRM. Now I'm fixing to try some Hall of Fame. I haven't tried that yet. And my lead budget, I had $500 in free leads today that I won from July 4th of dialing. On July 4th, I won free leads. So I'm grateful for those. I'll take them. And those were like 52 or 53 free instant internet leads. I'm going to pound the crap out of those. And then I bought another $1,200 on top of that in the CRM. That was a mixture of everything in the CRM for the counties that I'm running. Aged, and I love the aged final expense and the aged mortgage protection leads for a reason, because I don't dial those first. I text those first. And I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android, so I can what they call schedule a text message. And I think somebody said you can do an iPhone too, but I don't know anything about that because I'm an Android user. Sorry, Apple users. But what I do is I'll pull the aged leads out. And this is when I'm just sitting at the house, or if my husband goes with me and he's driving, I'm taking a picture of the lead, and then I'm sending out a preset text. It's already got like, boom, mortgage protection or final expense. And then I schedule them to go out automatically every Monday and every Thursday. So today at 7:30, 282 text messages went out, all at 7:30 this morning. Now, some of the numbers might not be good. I don't know. We'll go through that later. But as they come in and people respond, they pick a time. So I don't expect to, set a whole bunch off of that, but that's just extra fill-in. And those leads are $1.50 and $2.50. So why not?
That's great advice.
I love all leads, by the way, all leads.
There we go.
And Paige, I'll send you in Facebook Messenger, I'll send you my 2 text scripts that I use.
That'd be great. I was about to ask for that. Expense. And we can share that on Slack with everybody. Jennifer, I really, really appreciate this. This has been so good. We're probably going to have you back to keep going further in depth. So I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate everybody pausing your dial day. Hopefully you got a lot out of this. I know I did. And me personally, I need to get back to my why. I think my why's gotten a little dull because I don't feel like I'm as motivated as you are, but that is easily fixed. And I hope the rest of you do it too.
Oh, and I think Rose asked me how many dials I do. It just depends on when I get my appointments. I've had, this is the dial tracker I use. This is a blank one, but this is the dial tracker I use. It holds it's 475 dials. Each line is 25. This is the only dial tracker I use. It's the best one. I've actually filled up 1.5 of these.
And share that would be great.
Yes, I can share that too.
Thank you.
Excellent. And my script, if you want it.
Yes, you can. I'm going to get you my email. You can share everything, and then I'll put it all in Slack for everybody.
And thank you so much. If I got a little emotional, I apologize. No,
I think it just gave us all what we needed. Thank you very much. We appreciate you being willing to do that and share that with us. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys,
And all the
finish
comments
out
mean a
your
lot.
Dial Day strong.
Y'all got it.
Bye.
Thanks, Jennifer.